December oratory. Yay! I'm Connell O'Donovan, Education Chair of the Education Committee of the Utah Queer Historical Society. And I wish I could announce January's oratory right now. It kind of fell through at the last minute. So Becky's back there on Facebook trying to get somebody to do our next oratory at the end of January. But hopefully we might know by the end of this meeting.
Yeah, it might scare somebody away or bring them in. You never know.
Well, we have Coral Mangus and Andrea Dahl, who I was privileged to hang out with a lot in the late 80s and early 90s after Lucy Malin made me an honorary lesbian. And so without further ado, I'm just going to let you guys take it away and start, and if we might throw out questions at you.
I'll shoot it
in the midst of it, or ask for certain silly stories.
Well,
like public service announcements.
They'll roll. Once they start, you won't be able to stop them. We'll be here 3 hours later, huh, sweetie?
Oh, also, this is a free event, but if you care to donate, we have a little donation bowl here that goes to furthering the goals and mission of the Historical Society. So,
okay, before we get started, you need to know that Andrea and I and her mother Ellen, who is here, 96, and she wanted to come, so we said, sure, we'll pick you up. The three of us attended, at that time his name was Rocky. Rocky and Robert's wedding up in the Mill
City Creek was it?
City Creek,
I believe.
Yeah.
And that's
September of '89.
Yeah, that was quite a while ago. And then he attended our first wedding.
The first of 3.
Yeah, wedding. I mean, it was a commitment ceremony because we couldn't really get married, and that was in '88, right?
1990.
1990.
We've been together since '88, so
yeah.
And then we got married in 1990.
Yeah. So I'm going to let Andrea talk.
And that's the story. They're all stories in themselves. So, but see, she's going to let me start because once Coral gets going, I will be lucky to get a word in edgewise. So I'm taking my opportunity as we go. When Becky asked us to, do this, I kind of thought, cow, we're not activists. I couldn't figure that out, and I talked to Coral about it, and I'm thinking, that's just. You're all activists. I just didn't see myself in that. So just for grins, I took a look to see what the heck does activism mean, and it just went away. But hang on, I thought it was kind of funny, and now I can't find it. Oh, bummer. Okay. Well, anyways, and then I realized, oh, maybe we are, because we do things to promote, our community, or we attend rallies, or we stand up for people that their rights are not. The rights that you should automatically have are not given to you, or you have to, fight to get them. So maybe we are. I just don't know that sometimes I'm in the same category. But I had to think about it, and first time I think I really feel that I might have been an activist was when I came out to Utah. Not came out. Well, actually did that in Utah as well. That's another story. We'll rewind when it gets to that point. But when I came to Utah, I came here to go to graduate school. And I'd say probably within a month or so, I met Dr. Patty Reagan, who became my mentor while I was working on a doctorate. And she quickly introduced me to what she was doing with what was then the Salt Lake AIDS Foundation. So she encouraged me to be involved, and I did, and I started going out in the community, which was very scary at the time, to do AIDS education in 1988, and got involved with the Salt Lake AIDS Foundation. Eventually, I became the representative for the University of Utah when it became the Utah AIDS Foundation, and helped write multiple grants for the AIDS Alliance and so forth. So, in fact, a lot of the grants that I wrote, hi, Janice, that I co-wrote with a number of people. Ben Barr was kind of my partner in crime in a lot of those. And we together wrote a number of grants, and he got me out to high schools and doing AIDS education, which I got to tell you is pretty scary. I mean, some people said, "Oh, this might be the end of your career," I thought, "Oh, but it needs to be done." So we went out, and it was kind of interesting. I kind of followed his lead for the most part, which is a lot of fun. But I got to tell you a funny part about Ben, because, like I said, I didn't really come out until I was in Utah. So I don't think I had that total awareness, but then I could backtrack and say it. So this is prior to John, for any of you who know Ben Barr and Ben and John, and prior to John, when I was hanging out with Ben, we would go to like a concert or something, and I'd be looking for men for him, and he'd be looking for men for me. All the time knowing something I didn't know. So it was pretty funny. We'd be at concerts doing it. And the reality is that, I mean, as we all have those kind of stories about coming out, right? Those of us that haven't. I didn't realize about myself, obviously, until later, but in high school, the first time I really kind of got in that position of really kind of putting myself out and trying to stick up for other people in that sense was when one of my best friends came out to me in high school. Wow. And I'm going, wow. And this is in 1975.
Oh, so it's after the Civil War.
No. Yeah, thank you. I'm not that old. I wouldn't be one of those people up on the wall, but give me another 50 years and I will be if I live that long. Yeah, I could see what we were going to look like back then. But anyway, so and the one thing I remember asking is, what does that mean to our friendship? And she says, well, it doesn't change anything. I said, okay, good. So I was more aware of, when people would make slide comments or, people would make these, jokes and things like that, I felt more compelled to stick up, for her, for my friends. And then in college, the funny part, and this kind of does play into, I would go to a lot of lesbian parties. I mean, it's true. I'd be there. I knew what was going on, but I'm just like, hey, I'm one of the gang. Still, I had friends, Nancy and the gang that would, not me knowing, but they would be wondering and making bets as to when I was going to come out. So I'm not sure who won the pot. But when I got to Utah, I kind of became more aware. And then we met the second year that I lived here. Yeah.
How did you meet?
Well, we have two stories about that, but no, I got to tell this one because you can interject later. But
whatever.
We were at a women's dance. We won't say I thought it was Dahl, she thought it was women's aware. It doesn't matter. I went to a women's dance with a friend of mine who was my research assistant, and I saw Coral. And for those of you who really know Coral, she is a great dancer. And she was out there dancing, and I remember in a white dress, and everybody was dancing with her. And when I saw her, it's just like this glow of, this glow of positivity and goodness, and just I wanted to meet her, but I was very shy. I know it doesn't seem. I know, sweetheart. It doesn't seem that I'm shy, but when it comes to meeting somebody that way, I am. So I was very shy, and I didn't say anything. But I asked my friend. I said, "Who is that?" And she said, "Oh, you don't know Coral?" Of course, I wasn't really out too much in this group, so I didn't know. I said, "No." And then I went on a date. She's not here, so she can't defend herself, but a good friend of mine, on a date to Puss in Boots. I know some of you know the bar. And Coral was out there dancing again. And again, she's a great dancer. And I saw her out there, and I thought, oh, wow. I went up and talked to her because she knew the person. The person that I was dating happened to be.
I had gone to college with her at the University of Utah, and we had a volleyball, basketball, badminton class together. Hadn't seen her in 10 years. And I says, Dot, what are you doing here? And she says, oh, just hanging out, dancing with my friend. This is my friend, Andrea. And I says, oh, hi. Well, unbeknownst to her, I had seen a psychic. We won't even go into that.
You thought she was going to meet somebody. And
yeah.
All of a sudden,
so I went home and I thought, okay, I've gone through all of these women. What the hell are you looking for? So I had written down on a yellow notepad what I was looking for in a partner. Because I was always leading with my libido instead of, really following what I should have been doing. So when Andrea started to talk, and then I said, "You're not from here, are you?" And she goes, "No." And I said, "You're from Wisconsin."
I was flabbergasted.
And she
Going,
says,
okay,
"Now, how do you
you
do
are
that?"
psychic.
And I said, "Because of your accent." "I don't have an accent." "Yes, you do." Well, anyway, so I said, "What are you doing here?" I started, talk to her and all that stuff. And she said that she was on 7 national field hockey teams as a goalie. And that she was a mogul skier at the time and was on
earlier,
the circuit.
when I was younger and I had knees yet.
And so I'm sitting there checking off athletic. And I said, "But what are you doing here?" And she says, "I'm working on my PhD." And I go, "Educated?"
I didn't know the whole time she's checking a list.
I'm making these mental check-off things, right? So I go home and I go, "Oh, she's the one I'm supposed to be with, but I'm really not
On
attracted
paper.
to her."
Did you ever hear that psychoresume? On paper, I was the one, You have to see if this really falls, truth or not. But
But anyway,
fortunately, it did. But it.
So anyway, we started dating, and for once, we didn't hop into bed. We dated, and we
To
just
know each other, and we
really
just became
liked being together.
best friends.
Yeah, we became best friends, and I knew that I liked her when I was teaching 6th grade, and my kids wanted us to come over for a Halloween, party kind of thing. And she says, "Oh, sure, I'll go." She didn't want to go to.
When I was growing up, I never had any intentions of having kids because I was one. Kids don't raise kids. Well, at least they're not supposed to.
So anyway, I thought, well, that's really saying something if she's willing to sacrifice that to go to this party. So I knew she had integrity. I knew that she was honest. All these things that make a really good person.
Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
I'll pay you later. No.
Yeah. Okay, so continue with your.
Well, I don't know if I have anything to continue with, but I guess the reality is that as you can go back and look and say, oh yeah, I was attracted to these, women as I was growing up. Girls at that point, to women, and then it made sense to me. But Coral, that was one of the things. In fact, she was concerned because technically she was my first, and she was afraid that we wouldn't stay together because of that. And I said, well, why? My parents only had one marriage. Your parents had only had one marriage. Why can't we? What makes you think we can't stay together? And can I tell the story about the first year?
Yeah.
Okay. So. Okay. So the first year we were together. After the first year, she said, "Why don't we get married?" And I said, I know about your history. Maybe that's not a good idea. Because she had been with a lot of women. So I said, I think maybe we should wait another year and make sure because when I get married, I want it to be forever. And I'm sure, but I want to make sure you're sure. So we waited one more year. And it's kind of interesting because of the 3 marriages we had. We consider this one, in 1990, to be our real marriage. We could be like R.C. Willey and celebrate every vacation, every holiday and last 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after, with 3 weddings. But that's the one that we really, consider to be, because we made that commitment at that time. The others were legalities, and very important, very, very crucial. But that's when the 2 of us in front of our family, in front of our friends, made a commitment to be together forever regardless. And we've had, like everybody has, their challenges and, whatever we've gone through.
It ain't easy.
My mother, she's here, so my mother would tell Coral, probably even after the first years, that you need to have metal to stay with her. Mama,
please
you'd
don't
say
leave.
that, wouldn't
She'd
you?
say, "Please don't leave her. Please don't leave her." You're the best thing that ever
Not
happened
the
to her.
easiest to live with. Absolutely, I'm the first to admit that.
And she'd say, I know I love my daughter. I love my daughter. But
Well,
she
actually,
is difficult.
but I got to tell you the story about that, which is fun. I know we just fly off, and this is good. My family loves Coral. I mean, and I would often say that if we ever split up, they'd take her. You know, I'd go, "Can I come to the holiday?" You know.
Well, her siblings say to me, "I don't know how you can get away with this stuff with Mom. We would never be able to get away with this stuff." And I says, "Well, there's 2 reasons that I can. Number 1, I don't have history with her. I'm not her child. And number 2, I tell her the truth. And she's a big girl, and if she doesn't like it, she can just tell me right back, I don't like that. So I'm very honest with her. So those are the 2 reasons I don't worry about hurting her feelings." And you can attest to that, right, Mom?
We have a lot of laughs.
Yeah, we do.
Well, I'll tell you, when you're looking at activism too, I mean, my mother, I mean, she's been incredible. The first year that we were together, Mom came out and we went to Yellowstone together, remember, and Coral was teaching, so it was just the 2 of us, and we had a chance to really talk and, you know, tell her what's going on. And then my dad had passed, in fact, within a month after I met Coral. So he never had the opportunity to meet her, and I am often sad about that because they would have gotten along incredibly. They both were big BSers, you know, I mean, so that's storytellers. So they would have gotten along incredibly well. But, you know, we had that trip, and then Mom came. Can I tell a story on you?
Sure.
Okay, good. So, so Mom came and we had the women's dance, which only was like every 3-4 months, and I really wanted to go. And I said, you know, I really want to go to this. You know, you could stay, hang over at home or whatever. That'd be okay. And she goes, "Well, is that something I can go to?" And we said, "Well, sure, if you want to, and see why not." So Mom spent I don't know how long trying to find what she wanted to wear, what dress she wanted to wear to this wedding dance. So she goes, and of course, all women, right? I mean, it was awesome. So, and my mother's like Coral in that way. She's out there dancing with all these women. You know, I can't dance to save my life. I have no rhythm, you know. But you know, Mom was out there, and she's just having a good old time. And I knew soon after that you know, Coral was gonna make it in our family. You know, that she was gonna be accepted and then I think Mom got a better idea about us. But I got to tell you, though, the other funny part about it, not funny, but great. I mean, Mom stood up to her congregation, you know, and her priest when he was, I can't remember, Mom, I don't know what he said, but.
When I was coming out for the wedding, per se, I went to the minister and I explained that I was going out there and I was going out there because my daughter was going to marry another lady. And I said, I don't want anyone to just come up and try to make a big deal about this, but I want you to know that I love her dearly and I'm going to be there.
Thanks.
And we did. I gave her the same kind of wedding I gave my other 2 children, didn't I?
Yes. Yep. And my parents were florists, so my mother and my sister took over the floral business, came out, and we bought the flowers wholesale, and they did it up, man. We just had beautiful. We have some pictures actually here if you want to take a look at it, but we just had a beautiful wedding, and it was really nice, you know, to have them there. And
But it was sometime later that it was the minister that they were talking about gay and lesbians, or that was
and that's when you
an
left.
abomination or something like that. And
Mom left that congregation.
That was quite a number of years after
Was it
that.
after?
yeah,
That's activism.
Yeah. So she stands up. Yeah. Oh, you go, please.
What was your PhD program and how did it integrate with your work with AIDS group?
Well, actually, when I came out here, actually, it was in health education, same field or same department that Patty was in, and my area of expertise coming out really was more in the area of stress management, and that was my intention. I met somebody who
Was stressed out.
that kind of actually helped me, get in. Because of what I had done prior to that. I was working with athletes largely, but also, using it in other ways. So he got me into the program. But then, as I said, Patty kind of latched onto me and said, hey, what about this? So I started to actually use stress management techniques with AIDS, and that's kind of how I got involved. So I worked with that David Sharpton.
Yeah, David Sharpton. Do you remember
Yeah,
David?
PW, yeah. And worked with his group as well. I had designed some programs that they used at the foundation. So
The People with AIDS Coalition.
Yep. So I worked with that group as well. So that's how I kind of integrated the two. But I also had a teaching background. I had taught at a private college prior to coming out here, and I love to teach them, and I've taught in a lot of different ways, prior to that. So I was able to kind of use that as well.
Well, she was the head tennis coach and field hockey coach at this college, and they went to nationals for the first time. Wow. I brag about her because she's so good. I know. Yeah, she's really, really good at what she does. She's a great coach. That's, but she played, she would do pickup games, and she actually,
funny.
The
California.
Yeah, in California, the 4-year Olympic development hired her to be a trainer.
I was a specialty coach for the Olympic development program for field hockey.
Yeah, for field hockey. So she worked
Right,
with them.
I traveled all over the country for them, but
But anyway, she was in California, and she loved to do pickup games in tennis because she was a pretty good tennis player. And she went on the court, and there was these
I was
couple.
playing mixed doubles. I had a partner that we would, kind of pick up games. And this couple wanted to play with us, and my partner said, hey, they want to play. So I'm going, okay, what the heck, and they introduced, and it's like, okay, cool. We're out and we're playing. It wasn't until after we were done playing that I realized that I was playing with Barry Gordy.
The
Motown fame.
The
Yeah, I
Motown.
had no idea that's who that was. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that was fun.
But anyway, but part of the reason she was ABD, which was everything
All
on
but
her
dissertation.
all but her
Everything.
dissertation.
Did my comps, did all my work. Oh, that's right, that kind of fits into what happened, yeah.
Well, part of the problem was that she had to keep changing committees because of this, that, and the other. Her subjects kept dying,
No.
and
That wasn't actually what happened was I did have to change committees, but and the program that I had designed, you have to do, research that hasn't been done, and then NIH, National Institutes of Health, ended up doing the same thing I was doing. Oh, they had money and I didn't, so then I had to go back and start all over again. So,
but part of it was because at the time that was going on, I was teaching, and I wanted to teach year-round. So I went to a school that was year-round, and that was the year that Andrea and I decided to have this ceremony. And I had given an invitation to the people that, that I was teaching with, that I liked, and that knew about Andrea and I. And somehow it got to one of the teachers who happened to be the Relief Society president in the ward, and also the PTA president in this little area. And so, make a long story short, principal called me in and said, you need to resign.
What?
And
well, this is 1990, so
Yeah, this is
kinda
1990.
do some serious backpedaling here.
And I said, why, and he said, well, we've been following you for 6 months, and you've been doing all this, that, and the other, and we have our own police officer in Granite School District, and he said, and if you don't, we'll take your license away, and I said, I know, and you know what this is all about. And I said, and I think I signed it. I was so upset.
We were upset. Well, here's part of the issue too. Is we had this is kind of funny in a part way. I had applied for a position in Illinois and at a normal Illinois, which we thought was really odd for us to be a normal Illinois. So we go out there for this interview, and I was going to be working under a research grant for AIDS. And they were so great. They were going to help find Coral a position, the whole bit. The only problem is, and they offered it to me, the only problem is we're driving back home to middle, central Wisconsin, and we're looking around and going, there are no mountains. There are no hills. I'm not sure I can take this. I grew up there, but I came out here, one of the reasons I came to this university also is because I could ski. And
My
the only
family
hills,
was here.
Yeah. And when we got there, by the time we got there, we both thought, nah, I'm
No.
going to turn it down. So I turned it down, and it was we got back, and 3 weeks later, she got fired.
Whoa.
So we're just like, oh, crap.
We went to see Barnhart. What was his name?
Yeah, I can't remember his first name.
The
For ACLU.
attorney, the
Yeah.
ACLU
Yeah,
attorney
he's
who passed away.
Yeah.
Oh, the nasty guy.
Was he
Did
nasty?
he have a,
ACLU.
Yeah, ACLU. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian?
Brian.
Brian.
Yep, Brian Barnhart. Yep,
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
yep, yep,
Brian
Brian
Barnhart. We went to see him, and he said, I don't think you'll have the money, and nothing's in place, and you'd be the first ones, and all this stuff. And
He said, you probably won't win.
you
basically.
probably won't win.
And we didn't have money. We didn't have money to do anything.
And I said, well, being a school teacher, I didn't want my students to have to see all of that, So I just said, okay. But then find out that the principal was spreading rumors and, doing all kinds of stuff. So we went to...
Well, we found out, so
Yeah.
we got an attorney. And
And she's a lesbian attorney up in Ogden.
No, she was here in Salt Lake.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But anyways,
She commuted.
yeah.
yeah.
Jane Mark?
Anyway,
No.
no, we know her, but no. And I can't remember because she worked with Lori and Cody, and I can't.
But anyway.
But she basically
Wrote a
wrote
cease and-
a letter to the principal and said, you will either,
You cease and desist.
yeah, exactly,
Or we will sue
discontinue
you.
this action. We will sue you and the district. So, unbeknownst to us, they took that lovely document and sealed it, bailed it, sealed it so that you couldn't get it without a court order. Which comes to play later on down the road when she decides many years later she wants to go back into teaching, and now they can't find any of her records. Because they didn't want to get sued.
Yeah,
but they stopped, but still, the damage is already out there.
But anyway, of course, I went into a depression for a year, and I had no income. I took out my retirement from teaching, which is all of $6,000.
How long had you taught, Coral?
I had only taught for like
Well, about
6
4
or
years
7
something,
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so then I was sulking for about a year.
Well, it's tough to go through all that,
And so Andrea ended up,
I went back to work
she went back to work
full time.
and she sold some properties in Wisconsin, and
We got through it.
but it was a big sacrifice for her. Anyway, I was doing lawn business. I had a yard business. Tanya remembers that, huh?
Yeah.
And anyway, I was cutting about 15 lawns a week, and they had a silent auction. So I put up a thing that I would donate 2 hours or whatever for yard work. And the woman that bought it, I don't know if you know her, her name was J.C. Cole.
In fact, if you do know where she is, we'd like to find her.
Yeah. Anyway, she came out and she was talking to me, and we just got to talking about how I got to that point. And so I told her what had happened, and she said, well, are you looking for work? And I said, yeah, I think it's time. And so she said, well, have you ever heard of Kinko's? And I said, no, don't even know what that is. And she said, well, it's a coffee place. And I said, okay, well, I could work. I'm never afraid of work, and I'm pretty smart. I could probably pick up anything, And she said, okay, meet me on Sunday at such and such a time. And she gave me the address of the Highland Drive store, and I said, okay. So I get there, she's there, and I thought, oh, hi. I thought, maybe she's just welcoming me. She says, you'll meet a guy named John Anderson. He will be your manager. And I said, okay. Come to find out, JC was John's manager. She was the regional director of all of
This whole
Kinko's,
region,
of
yeah.
this whole region. And her partner was Fran Prune. You know her, she's an actress? What?
Yeah, French.
Yeah, Fran.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was her partner at the time.
What's the name?
Many years ago.
Fran Prime.
Fran
Fran
Prime.
Prime.
Fran? Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so all of a sudden the sheriff shows up. And I'm going, And they handcuff one of the co-workers. And they take him out, and my eyes are this big. I'm like, is this what happens when you start at this job? You have to you get hauled into jail or something. And I said, so what's going on with that? And he says, oh, he was using the color copier to make bus passes and ski passes. And so he got caught. So anyway, I ended up staying there because they had domestic partner
one of the few
benefits
places that had it
at the time. And 15 years goes by, and I'm on my feet. And I'm having to listen to people, which I don't mind, but when you get grumpy people coming in, I finally said to one guy, I said, are you from New York? He said, yeah, how could you tell? I said, number one, the accent, and number two, the attitude. Just like,
You're from New York, sorry.
Yeah, but so anyway, my sister retired from teaching and my brother retired from teaching, and they came by to visit, and they said, and I said, and you're gonna get a pension? They said, yeah, and I said, so I only have a 401k. I got to go back into teaching, and that's when we found out
Yeah, that they had buried her
that they had,
records.
So anyway, but I eventually.
So you weren't able to teach.
Yeah, she was able to get into a different district.
I went into
Until
Jordan
she
School
got
District, and then I got sick.
Yeah.
I taught for 3 more years, but
Can you please tell them though, back to the lawn care and that wonderful story where you were.
Oh, where she had a little, could have
The
been
little action.
where we could have gotten money on the video if we would have.
If we'd had that
Yeah,
video.
tell that one, sweetie.
Okay.
Would have hit $100,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I'm mowing the lawn of some lady on 9th East and 2nd South, and she's kind of a strange one. And those green garbage barrels, that you tip the thing over and everything else. Well, I was pouring the grass into the garbage, and she comes out and she waves to me, and I'm waving to her, and she starts backing out. And the garbage can's sitting right there. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm right here. And so I'm trying to hurry and push the garbage can out of the way. And I don't know if you tried to push a garbage can out with the lid open. It catches it. You can't do it. So it caught on the ground, and it catapulted me into the garbage.
Upside down.
Upside down. I was in the garden. There's grass going all over the place.
Feet dangling. Like, stop, don't hit me.
But anyway,
Seems kind of waste of a perfectly good yard.
It was a new do.
and one time my father was 80 years old, and he said, I'll come help you mow. And I said, okay. So he was always pretty strong, So he's out there mowing away, and I said, hey, Dad. And he said, yeah. And I said, you see this little black lever here? He goes, yeah. I said, if you push that, the mower will actually go by itself, and all you have to do is to walk behind it. And he goes, oh, because he's out there as hard as he could go.
He was a good sport.
Yeah, he was a great guy. So anyway, anything else?
Well, so I guess our marriages. So we had the first one, and then, like a lot of you.
Church, where was it?
It was
Yeah.
at Unitarian Church.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that was an interesting wedding, huh, Mom? We had people that told us they've never cried and laughed so much in the same wedding. Because
Kinda
things,
like it.
things didn't particularly go. Do you remember, Becky? I believe you were there.
I was not
You weren't?
present, and I
Oh,
was
okay.
not responsible for anything that happened.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. It didn't. Let's just say it didn't go in the way our lives go. It did not go as planned. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
From losing the ring to the music not working, and then Coral. And she has a beautiful voice besides being a good dancer. So she sang. We both sang on the way down the aisle.
Right. Well,
She drawn me out.
as we had practiced, and as we were coming down the aisle, we're supposed to be singing. And at the time, it was in 90, so it was "Wind Beneath My Wings" was the big song, right? So
We're singing to
anyway,
each other as we're walking down the
so
aisle.
we're walking down,
Oh, yeah.
and all of a sudden, Patty
You gotta hear this
Reagan
one, so.
comes in late. Okay,
In
you know
fashion.
Patty Reagan. So she comes in late, and so she's trying to sneak in and find a seat. Well, it threw the music off.
Well, everybody kind of stopped and
And
looked,
so
and
I
they just kind of
said,
stopped.
well, let's just start again. And so they said, okay, so we start again, and then we going down the aisle and everything else. And we get up there, and yeah, Andrea goes, when we're supposed to put the rings on fingers, she says, that's not, well, first of all, she couldn't find
Well, I
the
couldn't
rings.
find it, so I had to send, I don't know if you know Kim Eller, I had to send her back to go looking for it. And she couldn't get back in where we put our coats and everything, so she had to go all the way around, and somebody to let her in, and, anyways. But so somehow our rings got mixed up in the process.
And she said, and so we're going through this, the vows and everything, and Andrea's under her breath is going, this isn't my ring. This is not my ring. And I said, just wear it. Just wear it.
won't fit. We're up there trying to do this quietly so no one sees us, and I'm like,
And then I told her, we had to go to therapy for this because I didn't want to kiss her in front of a bunch of people. And even though that I'm very outgoing and stuff, I was just like real, it was a shake-up. And
it
so-
was. She was. I'll shake your hand. I'm going, no way. I'm getting married. I'm not going to do
said,
that. If they don't want to be there, that's their choice.
I said,
But-
I'll hug. How about if I hug you and stuff? So we go to therapy and we have to talk through this whole thing about,
True. Wasn't a lot of sessions, mind you, but a few.
So anyway, we get up and everything was going wrong anyway, right? And so I finally, when it was time, he says, you may now kiss. I grabbed her and I laid her down and I gave her a big old smackaroo.
I was so shocked. I just went, and our friend Kim, who was taking the video, she ran out at the time, so she's put another one in. She didn't get the kiss. She just got the
Yeah, Andrea just goes,
I was so surprised.
she just goes,
We watch it periodically, just because it's kind of fun. It's comical,
Who
but
officiated?
Jan Bartlett was his name.
our good
And
friend.
he is a Presbyterian minister.
Okay.
He doesn't have a congregation. He kind of floats. But his wife is my best friend, Nancy.
Yeah,
And Nancy was,
Nancy Sexton.
Nancy Saxton was a commissioner.
She was on
Or
council,
she was on
city
the
council.
Community council.
Yeah, she was on.
She had ran for mayor and then
Yeah.
dropped out.
Yeah.
City council.
Well, anyway, she looks like Wonder Woman.
Well, that's
She's
part of the
6
story,
feet
too.
tall.
Yeah.
She's got black hair and beautiful blue eyes. Okay, so anyway, she's up there and we're, kind of sharing stories and things like that. So, and all the women are staring at her.
Hoping. She's single and a lesbian.
And they're just like, oh, it was pretty funny. And so anyway, somebody said, well, where did you two meet? And Nancy
Or how did
started-
you know? Yeah, how do you two know each other?
And Nancy says,
With
well,
Nancy.
we met at the University of Utah in a dance class. And there weren't enough men, so I always, Coral and I teamed up. And of course, she said, let's see. She said,
I would lead, or
yeah, I have to lead because, she says, but I told my husband that if he could dance as well as Coral, then he could lead. And as soon as she said husband, everybody goes, oh.
They were so disappointed. And wishful thinking just went right down the drain.
Yeah. So anyway, and then we had people stand up and share stories how we met and all that stuff. So
It was pretty fun.
It was lovely.
fun.
And then my aunts came and did the food,
Yeah.
and I asked my mother if she would make my dress, and she kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And anyway, I finally confronted her and I says, Mother, you need to get that dress made. I mean, it's coming up. And she just kind of, and I said, what's the matter? And she says, well, I'm having a hard time with this whole thing. She said, if I make the dress, then that's going to say that I approve of this. And I don't really, it goes against, and I said, I understand, and that's fine. And I said, but yeah.
Was your mom LDS?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I
My mom and dad.
okay.
And so I said, I understand. But I know that you love me and you want me to be happy. And she says, yeah. So she made the dress.
And Coral said, can we just call it a party dress?
Yeah, I said, let's just call it a party dress then, Mom.
And she was okay, But,
Did she
it's...
attend?
No, she did
they
not.
attend
No.
any of the weddings?
Well, they weren't alive
Any
for
of
the
the
other, they weren't alive for the other two.
Huh?
They weren't alive for the other two. They had already
Oh, I'm
passed.
sorry. Okay.
Yeah, but and I think that was difficult in some respects. But they always treated me like I was part of the family. I mean, even from the first day that we met. In fact, I was as you always are. I'm petrified to meet her parents, like I'm sure she was to meet my mom and the rest of my family. But the first time that I met her mom, you can
My
tell her-
mother says, you look enough like my side of the family, you could be one of my kids. And I just thought, okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, and it just made me feel home. And they always treated me like, in fact, her dad would call me, he'd say, where's your partner?
Yeah. He'd never call her Andrea. He'd say, where's your partner? So, but it's kind of crazy because in our second marriage, my niece came with her 2 kids and her husband, right?
Yeah.
And she brought the camera and took pictures. My sister Luana, who lives in New Mexico, who was married to a guy, they had 9 children, very active in the church. And then she said that they were reading, they were studying and doing, I don't know what they do, because I quit going to church a long time ago. But they're teaching a class and had to read about Joseph Smith and all this stuff. Discovered what a dirty old man he was. And so they called him up and said, take our name off the records.
Wow.
They just ended it right there. And my sister always wanted to be a mom, and she taught school for a while. But she made a decision to raise her own children and not let them attend public school because they got bullied and, because she didn't work and her husband hardly worked. And so here she was raising her children, having a difficult time with it all. So my parents would send her money, and they lived in a Volkswagen van for 4 months in Arizona in the desert. I mean, it was crazy kind of stuff. But after 20 years of disowning our family, she kind of, that's another story.
That's another story. She just kind of got back into our lives again. She came back into our lives.
I contacted her, and in November, her husband died in December. My sister Hazel and I, who lives in City Creek Apartments, and goes to the temple all the time. I have 4 siblings that all went to South America on missions. My 3 brothers and my sister all went to South America on missions. And my sister just was over at the house today. And when she was over last week, all of a sudden she started saying something about politics. And we've always decided.
We kept religion and
that
politics
religion
out of
and
our
politics-
conversations. It was just safer.
Yeah. And so she said something, and I, just started defending and all this stuff. And she says, "Okay, Coral," she says, "I can see that this is going to be heated. Let's just drop it." And I said, "That's a great idea." So anyway, so she came today, and I love being with her because she loves me, she accepts us, she loves Andrea. She's just a good person. So I figure, hey, that's your deal if you want to go to the church.
The aunt who did the food for the first wedding,
Yeah.
how was she related to your mother, and what was her take on this whole situation?
Well, she was having a good time. She was my mother's sister-in-law. My mother was the 5th out of 16. So my Aunt Lois had married her youngest brother. And we asked her if she wanted to come. She said, sure. So, she was good with that.
And Gus's wife came and kind of
My brother
got
Gus,
in the background.
he just doesn't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be a straight thing, and he just doesn't like to go. But his wife came, and it was their child and her husband and the 2 kids, and they go to Pride all the time. And so they came
To our second wedding.
to our second wedding.
I'm sorry.
And then my sister Luana, since her husband passed away, she picked up her son, and they drove from New Mexico here for the wedding.
Well, we didn't know, of course, right? We didn't make it the first day that we found out we could get married. We got down there and we got turned away because we didn't get there soon enough. So we didn't know when we could go again. So Monday we were there like 6 in the morning or something absurd, standing in this long involved line, which a lot of you know about. And I, being a florist's daughter, I took a pail full of flowers. And I took a chair for her. So, we keep moving a little bit further, take that bucket of flowers, set it down, get the chair, move it, do for her. I had to go back twice to the car to get oxygen for her, and it was a very cold day, I remember. In the snow, climbing out there to get oxygen tanks. But,
and we'd see Brendan and Maureen. We
give
flowers.
some people flowers, and the clerks that were taking care of us, we gave them flowers. But it was, it was a long day, and some people said, well, we didn't have much notice. We're going to get married. Can you come? And then people came, and her sister, they drove all night long. They got there. They didn't even sleep. I think they got there that morning, and so that they could be there for
I don't know if you know Leanne and Ruth. Ruth, who's the police officer.
Yeah, why did I see a different name on that? When Ruth said she would not come because she was down in St. George and wouldn't be here till tomorrow.
Oh.
She said she and Andrea were in St. George.
Oh, I don't know. She might have been
well,
just talking
anyway,
about- but anyway, we got
Ruth
pictures
was
of us
there.
and stuff.
And Barbara Newfer. Barbara I don't know if
Yeah,
you
a
know
number of
Barbara
people
Newfer. She worked at right across the street from where at the OC Tanner. So we said, we'll just call you. We'll text you when it's
So we
time
were
to come
calling,
over.
texting people, and some could make it because we didn't know. It kept changing. We thought we were going to get there by 11 o'clock initially. We said, by 11 o'clock. No, that line took longer than that. And finally it was 1 o'clock when we got married. So whoever could get there at that time with a very short notice came,
So we had quite
some
a few
pictures of
people,
it.
and so we had a lot of newspapers and
Well,
things like that.
that's part of the story. So we're standing in this long line. I think finally we got upstairs, and somebody with a Tribune came and asked us if we'd be willing to give them an interview. The people that were next to us, I think they asked them, and they didn't want to have an interview. So I figured they picked us because we're older women. We've been together for a
and
long
by
time.
this time,
but anyway,
I
so we
wasn't
go,
working,
okay,
right?
yeah, and you weren't teaching.
Yeah.
So we said sure. So we I didn't think anything of it. We gave them some information. They took a few pictures. And then it wasn't too long after that one of our nieces texted us and said, did you know you're on Twitter? And I didn't even know what the hell Twitter was. I'm going, Twitter, okay, what does that mean? You know? So they said, oh yeah, you're all over on Twitter. I'm going, okay, that's cool, I guess. And then he'd come again further down, take a few pictures, talk to us a little bit more. Finally, by the time we got to the point we actually got our marriage certificates and Patty Willis was going to marry us, all of a sudden there are more newspaper people that came up to us, and I didn't know what all this meant. Somebody from Reuters, yeah. So next thing you know, I mean, we're in the newspaper literally all the way across the country.
We're in Japan.
Yeah, Japan. We had well, actually Patty said we were in the Denver Post, because she's from Denver, and then somebody was from Boston, said we saw you in the Boston, and I mean, it's just all over the place. But now here's the funny part about this. Okay, do you remember that we had to go to therapy so Coral would kiss me on the first wedding? I don't know if any of you saw the newspaper, because we were also, yeah, you did, Becky, that when they did the New Year's, because it was so close, we were actually in one of the 10 things that they listed. And guess what they did? They showed the kiss.
Us.
So, I mean, it's like full circle, right? Now I said, you can't get away with it now. We're in the newspapers everywhere with the kiss,
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny, but...
And you didn't have to go back to therapy.
No, by then it was just that. That's
Well, we have since gone back to therapy. But that's, again, a different story.
Better.
And, learn how to communicate. I mean, you always have to tweak your relationship. And one thing that our therapist said is, don't pursue your partner.
That was a tough one. I like to go to bed. Some of you might be like me, but I like everything settled before I go to bed. And Coral doesn't want to do that. She wants to sleep on it and wait till morning. Well, hell, I'm just going, oh my gosh, are we going to still be together? What's going on? I've been together 20 years. You think that's not going to end it? You have an argument. We're two strong, women that don't always agree. So it took me a while, and I'm going, but we need to talk about it. And so that was the thing that she said, don't pursue your partner. So when I start to go, oh, crap. Don't pursue your partner. I'd have to back off and wait. It was really hard for me.
Just let me sleep, and then I'll be.
Andrea can't.
Yeah,
I know. I know. It'll all be better in the morning, or she'll just plain forget. I don't know. I go, what were we talking about?
But then one of the other things that was very, very important for me was when the therapist said, "You just process differently," and I'm going, "Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense," and that kind of took care of about 85%.
And I was like, why didn't you tell us 20 years ago?
So is that what has made your relationship stronger?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I'm a very auditory person. And I have to say it to understand it. I need something to bounce back. And Coral's not that way. So I'd talk, and she'd go,
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
I'm just processing,
And I go, okay. Or then I would think she, talking to me, and then I don't do what she said.
Because she didn't pay attention.
Because I didn't pay
was
attention.
talking to her.
I didn't pay her.
She was talking at you.
Yes.
I thought she was listening, but no. So I had to learn some things. So, it's just a matter of, once we realized, and it's okay to do it differently as long as you respect each other's methods and understand. So we learned that, and yeah, I think our relationship got a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always solid, but it just smooth things out.
One thing helped me too is that my sister, when I would say, she's driving me nuts, she's driving me crazy. She's so worried about what's going to happen, and how we need to take care of this, and how.
I like to have my ducks lined up in a row.
And my sister says, Andrea doesn't really know that ducks don't line up.
But they do. I gotta tell you. So I was out kayaking one day and I saw these ducks and they were in a line. I had to take a picture and said they do line up. She didn't believe me unless she had a picture. Well, there was a stray duck here or there, but for the most part they lined up.
Coral had cats.
Yeah. So
Threw
anyway,
that theory right out the door.
so what she said to me was, and I don't know if I ever shared this, but she said, Coral, can you imagine what's in her head? And I thought, oh, that must be very difficult. That must be so hard to try and, figure that out. And so I was more patient with her then. And see, for me, even though that I'm very vocal about things, I process internally. If somebody asks me a question, I think about it. I think about it internally, or if things are happening. For one thing, I trust, and I think my parents gave me this, I trust that whatever happens, I can come up with a solution. I believe in myself. I believe that I can figure it out. So I don't need to worry about a bunch of stuff that I may or may not know what's going to happen until it happens. And then I can figure it out.
I have the survival books, all of them.
Yeah.
Series.
So, and that's, really how we're different. But yeah.
Who thought it would turn into a
When
therapy
you
session?
were married and you got worldwide notoriety, were you kinkoing or teaching?
I
She
was
teach-
No,
you had just left, because she got sick. That's why I had to carry all the oxygen tanks.
Right.
So she got sick, or really that we knew. She was really going downhill for about a year and a half or so before we recognized what was wrong. But probably like in May of that year, wasn't it, or was it the prior year?
Well, March of.
No, it was a lot sooner. No, I take it back because you quit in
The
what year?
reason I asked is,
Yeah.
it's like, if you were teaching, did the children respond? If you were teaching.
Oh, no.
Oh,
they
no,
didn't
but you know what? We found out her principal then actually cut out the picture in the paper and took it and showed it to a bunch of the teachers. So,
And said,
which we
"Oh,
found
look,
out later,
Carl
so we
got
thought that was
married."
good. And my supervisor clipped it out and put it in our office. So I'm going, oh, well, that was nice, yeah.
But
Was it the you? You were
Yeah,
the you?
yeah, yeah.
But I was having a hard
At the
time
hospital,
because, you know how you can kind of sense that there's tension between people? And my principal and I were, I liked her. I'm sure that she liked me, but I think that she was trying to be very cautious and, didn't want there to be blow-ups or, anything. And then, so I had started teaching there in 2007 after I was through working for Kinko's. And 3 years later, she calls me in the office and she said, the district is not going to renew your contract. And I said, well, okay. I mean, I didn't even fight. I think I was 60 then or something.
No, 58, 9, something like that, yeah. I don't know, doesn't matter.
Anyway, so I said, well, okay, wherever I go, I'm going to need a
Well, I just said you might as well get a physical exam now while they're paying for it.
yeah. So I said, well, let them pay for my health care. And because this was in March and my school really wasn't out until August.
It was the
and
year
I
that
was,
they were going to lay off like 100 and some teachers.
and because
she was
I was older and been in a system, they were probably paying me more. And so they wanted these new teachers to come up. For whatever reason, anyway, I said, well, so I go to the doctor to get a physical, and he does an EKG. Well, I've never had an EKG at a physical, but somebody had misread the EKG, and it said that I had heart attack. And I said, I think I would have known if I had a heart attack. So I go to the heart doctor, and the heart doctor says, no, has to do with your lungs.
Well, they had to run her through some different tests, and then that's when they found out that she had this disease. But
Yeah.
Long story short, they didn't talk to each other, so I kind of intervened and got her into a different
What disease?
place. Pulmonary arterial hypertension, which is a pressure issue in the pulmonary arteries.
And 30 in a million people get it.
It's
Lucky me.
pretty rare. Pretty rare.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Although they're starting to find out more.
More people.
Same thing that Natalie Cole died of.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it was kind of a blessing because once I found this out, it prolonged my life. I was able to get on oxygen. And she's got great insurance.
Yeah, and she probably would have died. I mean, as I did the disability paperwork for her, and as I was reviewing everything, I mean, medically she already clearly had this disease for at least a year prior, and the prognosis is without proper treatment is only about 2 to 2.5 years. So we're fortunate that this accidental reading happened, that she's still alive, but
Anyway,
So there's something I was going to say about the wedding. Okay, so we got married.
is it time?
We're getting close.
Okay, second one, and then the third one, since, as you know, being here in Utah, that the second marriage didn't take, so to speak, because they decided to retract it, whatever, while they were in limbo, we actually went to Minnesota and got married, because I'm from Wisconsin, so my family was able to be there since they couldn't on the spur of the moment come out to Utah. So we found this cute little college town on the Mississippi River and said, oh, let's just get married there.
By
So-
Minnesota Lake. It's a
Yeah.
little lake. So we all met at a rose garden.
Yeah,
Her mom was there,
Right.
Andrea's
And
best
my
friend, and
best
her
friend
husband.
yeah, a number of my,
Was a minister and
Yeah,
his
he-
wife were there.
yeah, he actually had to get his license or however he had to do it so he could perform the ceremony in Minnesota because he had it in Wisconsin.
And
a number of our closest friends were there.
there must be something about weddings between Andrea and I, because
Nothing
we were
goes
supposed
right.
to meet at a certain place at a certain time, and we
you
had
don't have to
stopped
tell
at
them
this,
why.
we had stopped at this
I
favorite
know.
bakery. And so we were having our donuts and everything else, and Andrea looks at her watch and she goes,
oh crap,
"Oh crap,
we
we're
haven't
late."
got your marriage license yet.
So we had to go in, and she stood in line while I went and changed into my
Yeah.
outfit, and then
And then-
I came out and stood in line
Well,
while
I
she
went
went
to
and
change
changed
mine
her.
because we were in a long line to get her. We had already, you had to wait a week there. So we did it. We drove and we stopped on the way in. Did all the paperwork, and now it was a week later that we were coming back to get married. So yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We didn't want to tell them why we were late. For our own
Minnesota,
wedding.
yeah, you had to wait a week. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. No, you can't see the evidence.
Here's powder all over my face.
Chocolate hanging. No, it was terrible. No, it was fun. We had a really nice wedding. We were fortunate that it was sunny because we didn't reserve anything. We figured we needed to save our money, so we just said we'll meet at this gazebo.
And nobody was there, which was a good thing.
Yeah,
And then
so it worked
afterwards, there was the Minnesota Lake, and you could buy a season's pass
For
$5.
$5
You
for
could
the
go,
whole year.
You
So-
go canoeing or paddleboarding or whatever.
Yeah, so we said, hey, bring your swimming suits.
So-
It was the water lake. So a few of my friends, up in Minnesota and a little further northern Wisconsin, they stayed. I took Coral out in a canoe and with her oxygen tank, and we had a kayak and a paddleboard, and we just had fun. Now, here's the funny part of this. I'll try to make this quick. So we're going home. We just go out. It's getting dark. I'm going, we better start getting back, right? And I'm still kind of in my swimming suit. Well, I had a shirt on it, and we're driving back, and Coral's getting low on oxygen, and I'm kind of putting the pedal to the metal a little bit. Well, we went by a casino. I said, maybe we got to slow down a little bit because who knows if somebody's drunk coming out, whatever. So I think I slowed down a tad, but then I kind of lost track and we're busy talking. And we get pulled over. So here we are, like, oh crap. So we're sitting in the car. You have to wait. And the officer comes up and he asks for everything, and he was going to give me a ticket. I said, we just got married. I look like I just got married. I had a t-shirt over my swimming suit.
So I said, oh, you should have just let me say, I needed to get more oxygen when I was at home.
I filled the marriage card and it did not work. No, what's up with that? No sympathy.
Well, before we go, want to thank you and Becky, our buddy, for having this platform for people to come, ask questions, get more information about the community. And it's been a great experience, and I appreciate you laughing in all the right places.
Do you have any words of wisdom for the younger folks in our community? What would you?
We want to be lesbians.
The what was that?
The wannabe,
Wannabe lesbian.
the wannabe lesbians.
You know, I think things have gotten easier in a lot of ways from back 30 years ago. You know, Coral kind of makes jokes that she thinks I just like to put it out there that, you know, my wife, and it just falls so easily now. You know, you don't think about it, but I still have a lot of friends living back in Wisconsin who still haven't come out to the world, so to speak. You know, out to their families, and some of them accept them and some of them don't. We both are very fortunate. And I know, and I think that's part of it, I know that a lot of people are still struggling, especially in the trans world, and some people still can lose their jobs just like Coral did, you know? So we've gone a long ways, but we have not gone anywhere near as far as we need to. And I guess, you know, for me, it's just be yourself, you know, honor yourself in the best way you can, but have a support system. I think that's probably what helped more than anything, is having a really good support system. When you think of, you know, our families, our friends, it's just for anything. I mean, a support system, you know, it doesn't matter, but I think, you know, that probably would be the thing I would say the most. And here's a great place, right? Here's a great support system, and to help develop that and use the resources available would be what I'd say.
Do you ever censor? Do you ever find yourself censoring? Because you easily say my wife and this. And
I
that,
do. I don't even think about it.
Restaurants and stuff with
Yeah.
you, and do you ever censor?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, but I don't think we did either, because I mean, the first time, you know, and I can tell you that, but the first time Coral had a family reunion, and I didn't know she'd want to do this, but she started, you know, saying my partner when they had it on video and stuff, and I'm going, oh, okay, cool. But I never really kind of backed away from that.
$3.
Any other questions?
Of course, I was fortunate to work for the university, and they had, you know,
Yes.
anti-discrimination policies, so.
So, would you be willing to talk to the youth? about-
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be
Yes.
neat.
Yeah, I would be glad to. Coral,
To talk what?
to the
To the
youth.
youth.
Hell, we'll talk to anybody that'll listen.
Not me, but you know.
Coral, she has a new audience. She's a happy camper, so.
Yeah, there are some people that haven't heard my stories yet.
Yeah, right.
No, that'd be great, thank you.
Sure, absolutely. And when I taught human sexuality too, I always had a panel come in as well. And I think
I
that
think
helped
I
people.
did a
I think
panel
you
or
were
two
on my
on
panel
you.
once. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
We called it Fags and Dykes on Parade.
Is that what you called it?
That's what we called
Oh,
it.
okay, that was good. No, I think it helped. I really do.
Do you know what happened to Patty Reagan? Where do you?
You know, she's in,
Oh, she retired a long time ago and has been just enjoying her little
And
scooter
lives
and having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. uh-huh.
Yeah.
Territory and.
Yeah.
2 months ago.
yeah, she did the same thing we're doing
Yeah,
here.
which if I would have known, I would have come.
Yeah.
That could have been something to hear.
Any
Yeah.
other
When are
questions?
we gonna get them online so people can see these?
They're on YouTube now. If you go to YouTube and go Utah Queer Historical Society, all our videos are there.
Oh, that's what I should have read in the fine line.
That
Huh?
Patty Reagan's is there. Yeah.
Oh, great. This is your.
Thank
Oh,
you.
no, that's scary. I'm going to get Patty for that one.
The presentation you did upstairs to the trans group the other day, is that on there?
It wasn't recorded, so no.
Oh.
Sorry.
Needs to be, that was wonderful.
That was a good time. I really enjoyed that. But
What's it called, Queer Historical what?
Utah Queer Historical Society. UQHS. Any other questions? All right, folks. Thank you.
Thank
you,
A
everybody.
big hand to our stars of the evening. Woo! Divas.
Oh, no, nowhere near that.
And I have great news. Can I have your attention? Can I have your attention? Becky arranged to have Jerry Bowie come and give our next
Yay!
oratory. So
Oh,
the
good.
thank you. January 29th, Wednesday night here, 6:30 p.m. And he's LCSW, MSW.
Yeah, he
LCSD.
started at, what did he call it? The Queer Counseling Center? What did he call
Pride.
it?
Pride counseling. He
Pride
started
Council, right? Yeah. So that's really exciting. I met him through the Naraya many years
Yeah, he
ago.
does two
But-
spirit sweat lodges and two spirit retreats
Right.
for gay men, and
Yeah.
he does good, he and Bruce do good work.
So, yay, thank you for arranging that for us. And
And we
Yes.
have some photos actually from my
Oh,
wedding
yeah.
if you want to look. But I'm kind of sad we had another book that Coral's niece actually created for us in our wedding here. And we had our house was burglarized a few months ago.
Oh.
And they stole our safe. And in the safe there was no money, but there was our vows and our books of everything and the other photo book. And I wanted to keep it, we've had some floods, and I wanted to keep it in a safe place. It was fire and waterproof, and then they go and steal the safe, which was no value to them. And I had photos and things that meant something to us. I'm going to take my money, leave
And
my
that,
books,
isn't that
you
the
know?
way?
Yeah.
That's awful.
I
So-
accepted you two from the very beginning.
I know you did. I know, and I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Mom. We've been very fortunate.
Yes, thank you.
So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Donations.
So I know Nikki, 4,000 lunch.
All
Okay,
right.
shoot.
This is Connell O'Donovan with the Utah Queer Historical Society on December 18th, 2019. And we're going to start with Coral.
That's right, you
I was
were
like,
first.
almost said Andrea. So what is your full legal name?
Coral Rose Mangus.
How do you spell Mangus?
Mangus.
And Coral?
Coral.
Okay. Do you have any nicknames that you go by?
CR. Cokie Rose.
Cookie.
Corley May.
Depends on who you're talking to, yeah.
What are your pronouns?
We,
Her?
her.
Her, okay.
Yeah.
And how do you identify in our beautiful LGBTIQ?
I am a lesbian.
Okay.
Through and through.
All right. What are your parents' full names? Your father first.
My father's name is Joseph Harry Mangus.
Okay. And your mother?
Jesse Christopherson Mangus.
Spell Jesse
Jessie
and Christopherson.
Christpherson.
Okay, great. What is your birth date?
5/30/50. May 30th, 1950.
Birthplace?
Casper, Wyoming.
What's the county?
It's Natrona County.
Natrona, okay.
I didn't know that one.
How many siblings do you have? If
I
any?
have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. There are
And-
6 of us.
Where are you in?
I'm the 4th out of 6.
Okay. What are their names, starting from the oldest to the youngest?
My oldest sister's name is Lawana Joe,
Okay.
and she spells it capital L-A, capital W-A-N-A,
All right.
J-O. And then there's Elwin Drew,
Okay.
E-L-W-I-N.
You don't need to spell that.
Oh,
No,
okay,
okay.
Drew. But he goes by Gus,
Okay. Oh, okay.
okay? And then there's Jerry, and my mother's name was Jessie, my dad's name was Harry, so they got Jerry.
Does he have a middle name?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yes, he does, Chris.
Oh, okay.
No, that's right.
Church records is Christopherson, because my dad got carried away.
Okay.
Anyway, and then my sister after me is Janette Hazel,
Okay.
and then my youngest brother is Joseph Lee.
Wasn't there another Joseph earlier? No, that's your dad.
That's
My
Dad.
dad.
Okay. Are you married?
Yes, I am.
You better say
Finally.
yes.
And I understand you both are married 3 times.
Yep.
Okay. Can we get the dates of the 3 marriages?
Okay, if that's up to me, the first date was September 22nd, 1990,
Where?
at the Unitarian Church here in Salt Lake.
On 13th East?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that one.
And then the next ceremony?
It was August 23rd, 2000 and,
Utah, first.
oh yeah, okay, December 23rd in Salt Lake. At the county
2013.
in 2013.
Okay.
At the county building.
During that wonderful
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
3
seven.
days of...
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And since that didn't work, then we went to Minnesota and got married.
yeah.
Okay. And what
The
what day?
date was August 23rd, and that was
2014, it was next year.
2014, because it was
Okay.
the following year.
Where in Minnesota?
Winona.
Winona, Minnesota.
Do you know the county?
Winona, I think.
I think it's Winona.
I don't know
Okay.
I don't know by
All right.
absolute positive, yeah. We
Do you
just saw this cute little town and decided we'd get married in.
Oh, nice. Do you have any children?
No.
Okay. Where did you go to high school?
I went to Granger High School
Okay.
here in Utah.
What year did you graduate?
1968.
Okay. Did you attend college or trade school or anything like that?
I went to Central Wyoming College in Riverton, Wyoming, and then I
About
went
what
to.
year was that?
That was in 1971,
Okay.
something like that. Then I went to the University of Utah for 1975 to about 76.
What were you studying?
I didn't know at that time. And so, but I graduated at Westminster College in 1982 in education, elementary
okay.
education.
So you got a bachelor's in education?
Yes.
Okay. Any other degrees that you have?
No.
Okay. So we're done with you.
Okay.
Now it's your turn.
I would have passed other than that. I didn't know the county.
What is your full muggle name?
Andrea Ellen Dahl.
How do you spell Andrea?
Andrea.
Okay.
And Dahl is Dahl.
Great. And do you have any nicknames?
Andy,
Andy.
Andie.
I.E. Oh,
Uh-huh,
okay.
yep.
Interesting. And your pronouns? Her?
She, her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you identify in our beautiful
Lesbian.
Muggle? Okay. Your father's full name?
My father is Dane John Dahl.
How do you spell Dane?
Dane.
Okay.
Yeah, like Great Dane.
John, John?
Uh-huh,
Okay.
yeah.
And your mother?
My mother, Ellen Marie Dahl.
What's her maiden name?
Her maiden name is Nelson.
S-O-N?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your birthday?
My birthday is January 23rd, 1957.
Okay. And where were you born?
Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin.
What county?
Wood.
Wood County. Siblings? How many?
I have one sister and one brother.
And where do you fit in?
I'm the baby.
Oh,
She's
The youngest
the oldest sibling is?
is my sister,
Her name?
Daria K. Skiba.
Okay. And your brother?
Nelson Dane Dahl.
Okay. And how many marriages have you had?
The three to
The
her.
three. You never know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
Married
know that's
before.
true, that's possible, but no, three to the same woman.
Do you have any children?
No.
Okay.
No,
Did you go to high school?
absolutely.
Where did you go?
I went to Lincoln High School in Wisconsin Rapids.
Okay. And what year did you graduate?
75.
Okay. College? Grade
Many
school?
times. Many times,
Okay.
many places.
Let's do kind of the major.
Okay, I got a bachelor's degree in UW La Crosse and health and physical.
Okay.
Health and physical education.
You,
Oh, did I lose you?
I just you got a degree in lacrosse.
No,
The
in La
sports?
Crosse, Wisconsin. UW for University of Wisconsin La Crosse.
So,
Yeah.
wow, they have a degree. in
Yeah,
lacrosse. Okay.
no. And then I got a master's degree there as well, which is in human performance, which is biomechanics, motor learning, and exercise physiology.
Wow. Okay.
And then I got a CAS, which is a Certificate of Advanced Study in Massachusetts, Springfield College, and that was in psychophysical movement.
And what year was that?
Oh, God, you're going to ask that question. I think it was 83.
Okay.
I got my BS degree in 1980. I got my master's in 1981, I think, or 82. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other one in 83.
Okay.
And
you,
then I worked on my PhD here at the university.
you worked on it.
I worked on it. I
You
finished
didn't
everything but my dissertation.
Okay,
so
so-
as what we call ABD. So yeah,
But
I
then
taught
she
at the
got a
university,
degree.
did research and everything. Oh, and then I forgot. I got a couple more degrees. Yeah. Well, let's just go to the fine night. So then I also got another bachelor's degree in health administration.
Okay. When and where?
Weaver State.
College or was it university?
College. Yeah, it was university. 2006, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think 2006.
Okay.
I had a associates prior to that too in health administration, but the last one was health information with an emphasis in health information management.
Okay.
I had other ones too, but that's good.
Well, you were well, educated.
I'm very educated, yes. That sure did me any good, but hey.
Okay, we're done. So now we'll open the doors.
Okay,
and
let people in?
let people
Okay.
in and-
Yeah.